Act 3 of ET, Busybodies. There are 9 games this MLS match day, which means more than one team will have multiple games, including Chivas USA and the New York Red Bulls. Let's look at the Red Bulls. 2 big Eastern Conference matchups for them. The first one tonight at Kansas City on ESPN2, actually. Kansas City coming in with a lot of confidence after getting that draw against Chicago. What is the key to this game?
Well, this is a huge game. It should be a great game, Greg. And I think one of the key matchups, obviously, Jimmy Conrad, bobblehead night, so
yes,
he'll be all pumped up.
Right.
But Conrad on Juan Pablo Angel. Subplot is if Kanji plays in the game, and Juan Carlos Osorio is one of the more tactical coaches in the league, so not sure if he'll play 2 up top or 1, but if Kanji is in the game, who's going to pick him up? This kid has ability. Mm-hmm. On the New York side of the ball, who's going to deal with Davey Arnau? He's been striking from midfield. Right. Claudio Lopez has been wonderful, and rejuvenated Josh Wolf.
Josh Wolf looking great. That's going to be a challenge, obviously, for the defense for New York. But it's sort of a revamped defense right now. Obviously, they're going to get Carlos Johnson back from suspension. They're going to get the new kid Pacheco out on the left side. Maybe get some attack on the flanks. Plus, John Conway in there again.
Yeah, John Conway, we talked about it, huge. Having him back in the lineup. Vocal presence, he looks sharp.
Just brings confidence to everyone in that back line.
Absolutely, and as a former defender, you know how good it is to have confidence in the big guy there. Pacheco and Carlos Johnson both have the ability to overlap, get into the attack. And for New York, one of the problems this season has been service to Juan Pablo Angel. Those 2 outside backs are going to help.
Well, New York comes back after Kansas City to the swamps of Jersey, and they face a sort of rejuvenated DC United. DC got that 90th minute goal from Olsen to get a draw against New England at home. Is this relief, or is this a confidence builder for them?
Wow, I definitely think it's relief. Had DC United lost that game and New England did everything they should to win the game, got the goal by Showery Joseph, stayed organized, DC United had plenty of possession, plenty of goal-scoring opportunities, but if Ben Olsen doesn't get a very difficult stoppage time goal, Wells Thompson was right on him. I don't know how he got the ball on goal. I think DC United, this is a fragile part of the season. I think they need to win. I think it's going to be difficult against New York, and lots of talk about Tommy Sohn and that team. He's got to win.
Well, there were some questions actually last week against New England with Tommy Sohn, some substitution problems when Jaime Moreno had a little bit of a problem. He's saying, get me off, but they had no more subs. Is this a game that if they don't get a result against New York, is Tommy Sohn really in trouble for his job, you think?
Do I know? I don't know. But I know that the stature, the credibility, the growth of Major League Soccer dictates if you're a coach and you don't win, out. That's every professional league in the world. So I think the pressure is on. A lot of committed fans, owners at DC United. You've got to win. And
they have the players still. I mean, Gomez looked much better against New England than he has all the other games. So they should be able to get something out of it, you'd think, right? Another big Eastern Conference tilt this weekend. Chicago travels a few states over to face Columbus. It's a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference final. Chicago, they looked good for 45 minutes against Kansas City. Actually, maybe 60 minutes against Kansas City. Columbus, though, they're winless on the season. Is this the kind of game... In fact, it is, right? This is the kind of game that could jumpstart their season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you wait for the explosion. Columbus is a good team. They have not played well. They have not gotten breaks. They've had players injured. I'm waiting for them to explode.
Well, they're coming off the bye week, so hopefully some of those injuries might clean up a little bit.
Yeah, and they still have Scalotto, and they have Alejandro Moreno up top, and it's a quality team. Chicago, how do they recover? Because they really squandered that last game.
Well, that's a good point, because actually after the game, you could see it on Cuauhtemoc Blanco's face, the frustration or the irritation, actually, that Kansas City had gotten the equalizer. And you kind of think if they don't get a result against Columbus, he could go ballistic. How does Dennis Hamlet deal with that?
Greg, I've spoken to many of the players on the Chicago Fire team. They all have the utmost respect for Dennis Hamlet as a manager of players. He's direct. He's honest. He goes right to him, whatever it is, whether it's Rolf, Blanco. So will he have a problem with Blanco? I think it's going to be a challenge to deal with him.
Well, at least Blanco's playing well. He looked great against Kansas City when he was in there. He even did the Cuauhtemoc Blanco hop, right, afterward. It was wonderful to watch, actually. A couple of interesting matches in the West, too. Dallas at Chivas. That has the makings of a big upset, I think, because Dallas has been improving the past few weeks. They finally got their first win against Toronto. The defense is still a little suspect, but the attack is dynamic, and that Ferreira-Kenny Cooper combination up top will cause any team problems.
I don't think there's any question there's potential for the upset, but I'm
But you're not
Chivas.
buying it.
I'm Chivas. Nagamura back in the lineup, so he'll
true.
deal with them in the defensive part of the midfield. Kenny Cooper and Ferrara, yes, they've combined well, but Dallas to me still has been a predominantly left-sided attacking team with Vandenberg, not getting a lot out of the right. I think Chivas the better team.
And still the back line for Dallas, very suspect.
Yep.
Ray Burst in goal, don't have the confidence in him right now. Well, another game in the West that might, in my opinion, define Seattle's season. The San Jose Earthquakes fly north to face the Sounders at Quest Field, and the Sounders are coming off 2 losses in a row. Not only that, they haven't scored in either of those games. Now, against San Jose, Shep, they're going to get Casey Keller back, which obviously is a huge pickup. But considering what's happened over the last couple of weeks to them, this is the kind of game that you will look back on, I think, and if they get the win, they're back on track, and if they don't, then you sort of wonder if the season just keeps going down.
Greg, you've just given the Seattle Sounders a huge compliment by calling it a defining game, because it is, but you normally wouldn't say that for an expansion team. We don't think of them like
most
that.
Most expansion teams just kind of laugh off, right?
Go play.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge game, and I think, we've seen Nate Jaquia, Freddie Montero, Freddie Lundberg all in the lineup together. Maybe it's taken a little time for them to adjust to each other. I think it's huge having Casey Keller back in goal. I think they're a solid team. I think they're going to get the win.
Well, they're playing at home. Obviously, there'll be a big crowd out there. But San Jose, pretty dynamic when they get flowing in the attack. Unfortunately, though, they keep giving up that goal and not getting that other one to put the game away like they did against Los Angeles. Well, it should be a great game, so be sure to check that one out. And that's all we have for you this week on ET. But be sure to email us any questions or comments. The email address is extratime@mlsnet.com. And I promise you, next week we're going to get to some of those emails. So join us and we'll kick it around.